I wear a mean dark pair of shades, and you can't see my eyes unless my head is bent. You dig?
We fly high, no lie, you know this. Falling rise, outside, it's like showbiz.
Ballin'. What's good? What's good? KC's Corner in the building. I'm back. I had like a little 2-3 week hiatus, but I am back at it, and I had to get back at it because it's finals week. Not your high school or college finals week. It's NBA finals week, baby, and I had to get back at it. And in the NBA finals, for the first time in 40 years exactly, is the Golden State Warriors. And if I'm gonna have a show talking about the finals and the Golden State Warriors are in it, I can't have anybody on here but my man Butcher Boy. Butcher Boy, what's up, baby? This is your time, man. What's going on?
What's up, Casey? Yeah, I'm pretty excited, but the Warrior motto as a fan, long-time Starfin fan, has always been, I'm cautiously pessimistic, and I am optimistic, but waiting for something awful to happen, or some terrible trade, or Don Nelson to come down and start coaching the team again. I love the Dubs, and this is such a surreal moment, because the only time I've ever seen them make the finals is when I'm playing 2K, and I do a fantasy draft, and it's on rookie. So that's about the only time my Warriors have ever made the finals.
Ironically, when you do the fantasy draft, 8 times out of 10, you probably have LeBron James on that team, and LeBron James is now in the finals on the other side. Now, what I want to do real quick, because, there's guys out there that, who are talking about Warriors this, Warriors that, and you couldn't see them 5 years ago. Okay, you didn't have them out there when what was the mascot's name? The little Thunderbolt. What was his name? Thunder. When they couldn't know Thunder from the Oklahoma City Thunder. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So you got those guys out there, and then you got guys that have been in there for the long haul, like yourself, like my man Dwayne, on Twitter. Let's go back down memory road, and I'm gonna go back to where I start mentally, because I'm a Kings fan, obviously, but I'm a basketball fan, and one thing I used to love, and I still love to this day, is for whatever reason, it's 7:30, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock on a weeknight, and there's 2 or 3 games going on. So I would always watch the Kings if they were on. If they weren't on, I'd watch the Warriors. When the Sonics were around, I was watching the Sonics. And when the Trailblazers were around, obviously, and then you got the Lakers and the Clippers. I loved watching late night West Coast basketball. So I'm going to go where I started. And take me to everything that's going on here with this Warriors. We will start at around 91, 92, and you've got Run TMC out there, and it's looking like things are about to be beautiful, and then all of a sudden, they're not beautiful anymore. Your thoughts?
First off, they decide to trade Mitch Richmond, who would eventually become a Hall of Famer, and as you know, played Sacramento, for Billy Owens.
Yes.
And I like Syracuse. I've always been a Syracuse fan. I know me and you go back and forth on college.
Yeah.
There have been some great talents coming out of Syracuse. There have been some significant busts. And Billy was one of them. And they traded for Billy Owens. And Billy was kind of an ambidextrous player, small forward. They thought he would be able to bring the ball up the court, be a point forward. And it just didn't work out. It was awful.
Right.
And eventually, what did they do? They flipped Billy Owens to Miami for Ronnie Cycling.
Oh.
One of the just, he was just awful.
Oh.
So basically, you traded Mitch Richmond, a Hall of Famer, and turned that into Ronnie Cycling.
Oh.
And it was awful. Then you draft Chris Webber.
Well, wait, hold on. Time out, Butcher Boy. I'm gonna set this up for you, because this is the one that really hurts. Okay. This is the one that's really crazy, and I need you to expand on this one. Like you said, you draft Chris Webber. Okay.
Technically, they drafted
Penny Hardaway.
Yeah, they drafted. Exactly.
They drafted Penny.
Hardaway, and they traded for Chris Webber. This was when the draft lottery was delayed.
Yeah.
And I heard it on the radio on KMPR coming home, and then I had to go home and watch it.
Right.
That's how long back it was.
Right. So you had opportunity to have either Penny Hardaway or Chris Webber. Both you're winning in both situations. You get Chris Webber. He's the rookie of the year. He takes the team to the playoffs. All right, you got Webber, Spreewell. I think Tim Hardaway was still there at that time. You've got a core that's starting to look nice. And then this is the way I look at it. It's like if right now, if I'm not even going to say Wiggins, because I think Weber's impact was bigger than that. It's like if New Orleans traded Anthony Davis right now. That's really how I feel. You know what I mean? The Warriors trade Chris Webber. You tell me about this. They trade Chris Webber.
Dude, first off, Chris Webber comes here, Fab Five. Not only is he a fantastic power forward who can dribble, who can pass, who can move, who can shoot. He's huge. He dominated. And I don't know if you've ever seen those behind the scenes of the USA team when they scrimmaged against the college All-Stars.
Yes.
He's dominating against Karl Malone and some of these guys. He comes to the Warriors and he's the missing link. The guy can dribble a little. He thought he was Magic Johnson. I know he was a power forward. He was fantastic. We go to the playoffs and Phoenix ends up kicking our butts because Charles Barkley was just awesome. And, the Dubs, they had everything with Webber. Literally, they had everything. They had given him something like a 10 or 15-year contract. Seriously, a 10 or 15-year contract with nothing was legislated, and it was kind of an open-ended deal at the time because there wasn't a lot of rules. And so there was an opt-out after 1 year, okay?
Yeah.
Or 2 years or whatever it was. Well, Nelson tells Webber, you're going to play center. And he says, I don't want to play center. I want to play power forward.
Right.
And so they go back and forth. They argue like crazy. And basically Webber tells, I don't want to play for you anymore. And Nelson begrudgingly wants nothing to do with the Warriors anymore. The whole thing is it's out of this world if you really break it down. So what happens is Nelly wants to go coach with Greg Popovich, who had just taken over from the San Antonio Spurs as the GM.
Right.
And his way of sabotaging the situation was, I'm just going to send Webber off to Washington for Tom Gugliotta. Tom Gugliotta. Then, I think it was 13 or 14 days later, Nelly decides to just resign. And he resigns in the middle of this. Okay?
Wow.
And all within the same time frame, Tim Hardaway tears his ACL. He's out for the year. We still had Spree. Spree was a stud out of Alabama. I mean, Spree was a generational two-guard. I mean, he was fantastic. People have a bad memories of him, but Spree was one of the best athletes in the game. Could go both ways. He was a great shooting guard. But you lost Hardaway. That next year, what do? Amid all this chaos, they flip Hardaway and Chris Gatling down to Miami for Bimbo Cole and Kevin Willis.
Oh, my.
Are you kidding me?
This is ridiculous.
Fast forward a couple years, and I don't know, 2 coaches, and you got PJ Carlissa.
Okay, hold on. Okay, we're gonna set this up again. Okay, I'll just say before Steph took off, and maybe even a little after, maybe even today. Okay, if you asked anybody in the country their top 5 thoughts, memories of the Golden State Warriors, probably in the top 5 is when Latrell Sprewell tried to kill his coach. He tried to choke out his coach. So go ahead. PJ Carmelo comes in there, and what happens now?
You got to remember, you gave away Hardaway, okay? And Hardaway was a stud point guard. He goes to Miami, and boom, they're in the freaking playoffs year after year. He's leading them, and I'm watching the guy I grew up with, invented the killer crossover, just destroy the Eastern Conference.
Yes.
I mean, he was a stud. He was physically gifted with his strength. He was very much reminding me of Baron Davis of a later generation. But Spring takes over for the team. The team starts going in the tank. PJ and Latrell, they go at it one day in practice. Latrell literally goes after PJ Carlson, puts his hands around him, and has both hands around his throat. Not one, but 2 different separate instances within the same 5 or 10 minute period. And teammates are trying to pull him apart. I mean, this is insanity. He is the first player to be caught, basically, beating the crap out of his boss. And then
He was Austin before Austin. He was the original Steve Austin.
Exactly. That is a great call. Wow, that's a great call. And then the Warriors, they put like a Keyshawn Johnson deal. They're like, we're going to deactivate you for the season. And they deactivate him for the season. And he doesn't play the rest of the year. Obviously, we suck all the way through it. And we give him away to New York for like Chris Mills and just a bag of Doritos. I think we get John Starks in the deal, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, John Starks. Yes, you're right.
And time period where we had like 19, 17, and 21 wins. We
Right.
won 67 games this year. Think about that. It took us 3 years to win like 60 games,
Oh.
and now we're winning 67 in 1 year. So then you go a little farther, okay? And finally, we've got some draft picks that we're making selections, and we pick up Gilbert Arenas, and we get this great player out of Arizona in the second round. Well, come to find out, there's a loophole in the CBA, and Washington can offer him a little more money, and the Warriors couldn't match it, and now there's a rule called the Gilbert Arenas rule where you can match a second round pick offer, and so he goes to Washington.
Well, let me ask you this. Wait, Butch, let me ask you this. Now, there was a moment in there where I felt like people were getting excited. Was this at the same time as when Larry Hughes was there?
So we had Antoine Jameson, okay? We had drafted Vince Carter, okay? This is the
Yeah,
word.
yes.
Drafted Vince Carter, traded for Antoine Jameson draft day. And Jameson was a good warrior. He wasn't Vince Carter.
No.
You know, Vince Carter, and like I said, Jameson was a good warrior. We gave him a big contract. He played hard every night, you know, but he wasn't the number one guy on the team. And Vince was a highlight reel. He never really won anything until later on in his career, but man, he would have been awesome to have. We trade to Philadelphia. We pick up Larry Hughes like he is the missing link. You
Yes.
know, we get Larry Hughes, and that was awful. Absolutely awful. I used to sit in the upper bowl. They would call him Larry's Kids. You know, you could get like $10 or whatever. But Larry Hughes, you know, and then we flip in. This is the best part. We end up flipping Larry Hughes away and Antoine Jameson away. Well, they all end up in Washington as the East Coast Warriors. And you got Gilbert, Larry Hughes, and Antoine Jameson going to the playoffs year after year,
Yes.
and we're stuck in mediocrity.
Right. So let me ask you this. So, like you said, stuck in mediocrity, and then all of a sudden, Donnie comes back. Okay,
Yeah.
Donnie comes back home to Oakland. Okay, you get Baron Davis was it through? It was through a trade, right, with Charlotte.
So what happened was at the time, Mike Montgomery from Cal, the Cal
Oh,
Stanford
yes,
legendary college coach, decides I want to go to the NBA.
And poor Monty, because I really like Monty as a coach, but that was disastrous. That was
But
disastrous.
he's not an NBA coach, you know. I mean, let's be honest. And we had at the time we went through Musselman, and we went through all these awful coaches that were good assistants, but they weren't prepared to lead a locker room with a bunch of kids. And so they picked up Barry Davis, basically for Dale Davis and Speedy Claxton. If you can believe it. And Dale Davis decides he's not even going to show up in New Orleans. And it was a great trade. It was a fantastic, one of the best trades that Chris Mullin, who was the GM at the time, had ever had.
Yes.
And then when you bring Darren on, you got Chase and Richardson, you got the Dunn Murphy sisters, Dunleavy and Murphy.
Dunn Murphy.
At the time,
I hadn't heard that one before.
Dunn Murphy was coming out of Notre Dame. He was really good the first 2 years.
He was.
Broke his
He
nose
really
like
was.
4 times,
Yeah.
and he was never the same player. But
Yeah.
he was a physical left-handed power forward, and then all of a sudden
He was like 17 and 8. He was like 17 and 8 at one point.
He was legit. But then he fell in love with the three-pointer, and he wasn't a three-point shooter.
Mm.
He drafted Dunleavy third overall, okay, in the draft with Jason Williams, where he got in the car accident.
Yeah.
And Dunleavy had a huge game where he went off for 30 points, all the three-point line, never came to fruition. Well, they take that team, and at mid-season after Nelly had come in, they make a big trade.
Captain
They go get
Jack.
Al Harrington. They go get Al Harrington and Fat Jack. And it was one of those game changers. And Al, I got to give Al credit. Al was a revolutionary power forward in the sense that he wanted to shoot the three.
Yeah.
You know, he wanted to shoot the three, flash a little. He didn't want to bang down low.
Yeah.
And that team was so rough and tough. And they had 2 players on that team that were on the come up. And that was Monte Ellis, and that was Andre Piedra.
Right.
And Andre Piedra at the time was a double-double machine. I know people now, he's the butt of all the jokes, but at the time he was a rising defensive player.
Yeah.
And the team, we believe, comes out of nowhere, gets hot at the end of the year. No one remembers this, but the Mavericks tanked a few games down the stretch.
Avery Johnson.
To allow the Warriors to get in. And we ended up facing them, thinking that they would be a better matchup. And the Warriors end up beating them.
Yes, sir.
And Nelly knew that team inside and out because he had coached the Mavericks for so long. Avery Johnson, I mean, I love the guy. He was like a 3-time Spur, 3-time Warrior. He got out-coached in that whole series.
Yep.
And Barron brought it. And
Yes.
he brought it in that series. Stat Jack brought it. Defensively, we had it. And what was crazy about that year was that Jason Richardson had broken his wrist for the majority of the season, and Monte, his backup, came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So the following season, the Warriors win like 50 games.
Yeah.
They're the first 50-win team to not make the playoffs.
Unreal.
Only Warriors.
Unreal.
Only us.
Unreal.
That happened to.
Unreal.
Because the West was so good.
Now let me fast forward a little bit to an epic night. You know where I'm going, okay? Now I remember I at one point I worked for the Warriors, okay? I worked for them for about 2 years. They had their summer camp program, and I was a camp counselor. We went all around the Bay Area, about 9 camps throughout the summer, all around the Bay Area. I guess he was my boss or whatever at the time, Jason Perkins. I'll never forget the day Monte, I think it was the first training camp day. Monte Ellis, 18-year-old guy out of Alabama, and he was at the Warriors facility for the first training camp. And I'll never forget, he came home and he said, "Listen to me. This guy Monte Ellis that they drafted, the high schooler, a freaking stud. This guy is going to be nice. He's going to go." And I'll never forget. I was like, "Really? The 18-year-old guard, he's like that right now?" He's like, no, trust me. He is going to be a stud. They couldn't stop him. Day one, they couldn't stop him, right? So, obviously, all that comes to fruition. He's a beast with the Warriors. He's doing his thing. They don't really win much, okay? They don't really win much, but he's doing his thing. They get Curry. It's Monte and Curry, and people are really excited by that, but they're not winning. So, new ownership comes in, and they trade Monte Ellis, a huge fan favorite, for Andrew Bogut, who at the time could not stay healthy to save his life. And there's Chris Mullin retirement night, and you just take it from there.
Well, that's so many things. Okay, I have to backtrack a little on Monte. You basically kept Monte and got rid of Jason Richardson, who was also a fan favorite, because they both played the same position, and one guy needed to get paid, and that was Monte. But what made Monte those first couple of years was Baron Davis.
Yeah.
Baron Davis was a top 10 player. People forget how strong of a leader he was. He could get everyone the ball. He wasn't a great shooter, but he got the Andrews the ball. He got Monte the ball. He got everyone the ball in their spot, and made them great players. And he bolted for a little bit more money. And then they brought in Corey Maggette. Okay, and that's when the losing started. And what happened was that Maggette, I really believe this, Maggette, he wore off on Monte big time in the individual ball. And Monte became a different player. And when you don't have that point guard leader, out there, you start playing the game a different way. And I like Monte. I have a lot of heart for him. He tries every night. He's just not a winning basketball player. So then they flipped Monte, who was basically the only exciting player at the time. That's, let's be honest, for an injured Andrew Bogut. And not only is Bogut injured all the freaking time, well, he has to have microfracture ankle surgery. Okay?
Goodness.
So he has microfracture ankle surgery. Then, right when he buys the team, first thing he says is, "I want to move the team to San Francisco." And
that's
we
right.
want to turn him into the San Francisco Warriors.
That's right.
I'm a long-time season ticket holder. I'm sitting there, and this new owner, after years of Robert Rao and Mr. Cullen, who were just awful, never made public appearances or anything, finally, as a Warrior fan, I get my voice. I get to say something. It sucked that it happened on Mullen's night, but you know what? I hate to say it. Lacob needed to hear it from the fans. At the time, he needed to hear it. He needed to wear it. That was 30 years of frustration.
Yes.
That was 30 years of flipping Mitch Richmond for Billy Ellis for Ronnie Cycli.
Yes.
For flipping Tim Hardaway. For pushing Chris Mullin out the door to the Indiana Pacers.
Yes. Yes.
So many different, for losing Baron Davis and then basically overpaying for Corey Maggette. This wasn't just one thing.
Right.
This was 30 years of awfulness.
Right.
Of awfulness.
Right.
And they gave it to him. And, I love Mullen. I do. I love Mullen. Mullen, he lost a little bit of his luster, with a lot of the fan base because he became the GM. And he did sign some guys for some contracts at the time, which I think we all would have defended, like giving Murphy and Dudley the extensions, because he flipped those for later pieces. But, there was just so much. It wasn't just about the Monte Bogut trade. It was everything in a nutshell.
Yes.
And that was just the icing on the cake. And finally, they had an owner out front at half court that they could boo at.
Yes.
And they had never had that opportunity with Rao or with Cohen. So, man,
It all came to a head.
Part of me still laughs.
It all came to a head that night. It all came to a head that night. It's one of the most, to me at least, it's one of the most epic moments in Bay Area history. And you can make this. It didn't directly turn things around. There's a lot of things that happened, but that was the turning point. That's when things. I know they had a bad year after that, or maybe a bad year or two after that. But then you had Curry, and at the very least, I feel like you said, Lacob knew what he was dealing with at that point. And I think it even came back to the point where they win the Western Conference Finals, and Lacob doesn't even talk. Okay? Lacob doesn't even talk. He knows what he's dealing with, and he knows. I don't know if he's that smart or if he got good advice or it's just a coincidence, but he knows, like, we appreciate you. We don't want to hear from you. We want to hear about these players who actually brought us something, and we thank you for what you did. But at the same time, we don't want to hear from our owner right now. Okay, that's not what we want. So we fast forward. The Golden State Warriors are in the NBA Finals. Okay, they make it to the NBA Finals. Now, I mean, we're right here, and Butcherboy, this is where we're gonna have a talk right here. Okay, this is where we gonna talk the PTI style. I would say first take, but I can't stand Skip Bayless, so we're not gonna go there. Okay, we're gonna talk PTI style. I know you think the Warriors are gonna win, and I'm gonna tell you straight up. Okay, if somebody gave me $1,000 to bet right now, the safe money is on the Warriors. Okay, I think they're the best team in basketball. I think that having home court, all that stuff is going to play into it. But there's something tugging at me where I think the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to get this done. You tell me why I'm wrong, and then I'll come back at you.
But Kenny, to be honest with you, I'm such a diehard Warriors fan. I cannot, with a straight face, say the Warriors are going to win the NBA Finals. I can't. For all my years, what did I say before the playoffs started? Let's take it one game at a time.
Yeah.
I know that doesn't sound sexy when you're doing a podcast or a show or any of those things, but that's the honest to God truth. I am trying to take it one quarter, one possession at a time, and just pray it goes our way. Because, like you said, King James, let's be honest, he's a top 3 all-time player. The guy can guard any position. Anyone who says he's not clutch or he's not Jordan or this is crazy. Are you watching basketball? This guy is a superstar. He's an absolute superstar. And he is the number 1 player in the entire series. Okay? Yep. And most of the time, the best player in the series, when he's surrounded by sufficient talent, is going to win that series. Yeah, Curry had a great year. LeBron has been the most inefficient of his entire career. I would also say the reason he's been so inefficient is because he doesn't have a lot of players around him.
Yeah.
No Kyrie, no Kevin Love.
Right. But
Kyrie could be healthy. And Kyrie wasn't the number 1 overall pick for nothing.
Yeah.
Kyrie could put on the show too when healthy. Is Clay healthy? What are we going to get from Bogut? Is Boscoff going to dominate him down low? Tristan Thompson, who's going to guard him on the offensive glass?
Yeah.
Is Noah Vitopa going to pull a Trevor Ariza and try to take out the Swag brothers? There's so many storylines.
Right.
The number one that I like, this is the one I like, is as great as LeBron is. I do think that coaching plays a big part in this. Does Black have what it takes to make in-game and in-between game adjustments that Alvin Gentry, Kerr, and the rest of his staff can do? I think that, to me, is the Warriors the edge. But again, it's LeBron. It's the LeBron factor.
Yeah.
There was a game in, I want to say February, and I don't know who was hurt. I know David Lee played extended minutes, so we're not going to see David Lee in extended minutes this series.
Right.
But there was a point in that game where LeBron was like, yeah, Kurt, you're having an MVP here, but now I'm healthy and I'm back. I'm going to shut you down.
Yeah.
And he went for his 30-plus, and he was unstoppable. And as great as Draymond Green is, as great as Harrison Barnes and Iguodala collectively can be defensively, he's LeBron James.
Yeah.
And I hate using these blanket statements, but he's the man right now. And to beat him, we got to shut him down. Or make him pass the ball to other players. I think it's going to be a fantastic series. I don't think the Warriors can win, honestly. I really don't. I know they won 67. I know they're the best team. I know they have the deepest roster. I can go back to LeBron, Casey.
Yeah. Hey, well, look, it's like this, and everything you said is dead on, okay? Dead on. Here is my argument for the Cavs winning this series. Number 1, LeBron James, okay? You got LeBron James. Number 2, I felt that, and I was talking on the Murph and Mac show earlier this morning. I'll tell anybody who will listen. I feel like the Cavs are the combination, the combination of everybody's strengths that the Warriors have played in the playoffs so far. So, for instance, you had Anthony Davis and really nothing else with New Orleans, but you had that superstar in Anthony Davis. He didn't have the supporting cast around him, okay? So you got that. Then you had Memphis. And Memphis, very good defensively, okay? Maybe a little overrated, but they're very good defensively, okay? But no offense whatsoever to come with you, okay? They can't score.
They cannot score.
Houston, the complete opposite, all right? They're not tough enough. And while they played well in 2 games in the Western Conference Finals, I mean, Houston is who I thought they were. They can't defend. They're careless. Cleveland has the superstar. They play the defense, and they're surprisingly, they're not as efficient and as explosive as the Warriors, but they can score with you because they have certain players. What it comes down to is there's going to be a situation, people say Draymond Green is going to guard LeBron James. If Tristan Thompson is in the game, Draymond Green can't guard LeBron James because you're not going to put, or I'll put it like this. If Tristan and Mozgov are in the game, Draymond Green is not going to guard LeBron James because you're not going to put Harrison Barnes in a position where he's going to try and stop Tristan Thompson from being a monster on the board. So now you've got LeBron James going up against Harrison Barnes, who is a good defender, you know what I mean? But, I mean, still, it's LeBron James, okay? That's going to be an issue. What it's going to come down to is, does J.R. Smith and Amon Shumpert play like they did in the Eastern Conference Finals? Because if they shoot the ball like they did in the Eastern Conference Finals, I think that's going to be enough for the Cavs. I see even if Kyrie is even at about 80, 85%, the combination of those 3 things with the defense, LeBron James, and Shumpert and J.R. Smith making shots, I can see an opportunity for the Cavs to win the championship in that situation. But the Warriors are so deep, though. The Warriors are so deep. You got Festus Ezeli coming in and balling. Festus Ezeli I agree with Jeff Van Gundy. He's a starting center. Festus Ezeli is doing his thing. You got Sean Livingston playing great basketball. Okay, you got Iguodala doing his thing defensively. You got Barbosa coming in and giving minutes. Okay, I mean, this team is crazy deep, man, and it's. I agree with you. I think this is going to be a great NBA Finals. I can't wait for it.
Here's a question I like to pose to you, because I thought people don't give defense enough credit in the NBA, and what I mean by this, the energy you exert trying to defend someone. Why is Clay missing threes?
Yeah.
He is running around trying to stop James Harden, arguably the best playmaker in the game.
Yeah.
And I don't mean just playmaker for other players, I'm talking about for himself.
Right.
He's going to the line 15 times a game. Clay held him down, and it's still shooting 15 free throws a game.
Right.
So my question to you is if Kyrie can't go 100%, or let's say he gets hurt or whatever, does LeBron have to guard Curry?
I think
because at some point,
I'll tell you like this.
To see what happens there.
I'll tell you like this. Even if Kyrie's out there in the 4th quarter, LeBron James is going to be guarding Steph Curry. He's going to be on Steph Curry, and I don't know how that affects. Like you just said, I don't know how that affects him offensively in crunch time, because we saw it a couple years ago with when Derrick Rose was in his MVP season and LeBron hopped on him. Okay, and LeBron James right now, like you said, he don't give a damn what Blatt is going to say. He's 4 wins away from bringing a championship to Cleveland, and if it goes down, it's going to go down on his back like everything else. David Blatt, draw whatever play you want to. I don't care. I'm going to do what I want to do. If I need to go, and if I feel like I need to go stop Steph Curry for us to win this thing, I'm going to go do that. And that's going to be fascinating. Butcher Boy, we are running out of time. My girl's going to kill me because my kid is, he's going to kill me. Yeah, he's going to kill me. Man.
I'll give you this one last thing, though, and I will say, the one thing that I have to give LeBron James credit for, that I know everyone makes a joke out of it, the damn guy makes some great, I know he's, in my mind, he's the de facto GM. He makes some fantastically shrewd moves, picking up JR, picking up Shumpert, picking up Markov, in one offseason, or one regular season, they have become such a deeper, more talented team. And I've seen your tweets about the Eastern Conference and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And while I do think the West is slightly overrated, and I think that the East being weak is slightly overblown, I think this is going to be the best NBA Finals in a while. And the reason I say that is because I think people were tired of the Spurs, even diehard fans like ourselves.
Yeah.
They're just tired of Manning and Tony Parker. I am very intrigued to see how this goes. And I do wish Kevin Love was healthy, but I think Tristan Thompson getting an extended run allows for a more diverse matchup between the two teams, and I think this is going to be a 7-game series, no doubt about it. I'm ready for it. Casey, thanks for having me on, man.
Hey, man.
I'm so pumped for it.
Hey, I can't wait. Congratulations. Enjoy this. Butcher Boy on KC's Corner. We got 10 seconds. I'm up out of here. Enjoy the show. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We up out of here. Y'all be good. Peace.